Welcome back. If you haven't seen part one of this episode, you're going to be terribly confused. We just sanded this whole thing down and we talked about how to basically get all the edges off of this scratch and then put a little bit of fine scratches inside the bigger scratch, if that makes sense, so that the touch-up paint will stick. Now I want to tell you the first step. First step is to take a degreaser, like that, get it on a towel, and wipe off any residue that may cause the paint to not stick. Now this is what they call a volatile chemical. Volatile chemical is just like gasoline. When you pour it on the ground and it's gone in 2 seconds, volatility is how quickly it evaporates into the air. Now this is going to clean those little spots inside the scratch. This is very important, otherwise your paint will not stick. Now on to step two. As you can see here, this is the outside edge here of the scratch, which if you watched video one, it is unfortunately a penis on the hood. For lack of imagination of these whatever idiots who put this in here. Anyways, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the application of the touch-up paint. Well, first things first is the touch-up paint we got was from Honda, and you go there and it costs you $7-10 or whatever, and it's already pre-mixed. And how you do that is give them the VIN number, the year, the make, the model, that sort of thing, and they'll mix it up and it'll be good to go. What they give you here is this. This is what touch-up paint looks like. Now, do you see that brush? That brush is to paint fingernails. Unfortunately, we are not painting fingernails. So put that back in, and before you use it, always shake it. Hear that? If you don't hear that, that means it's solid. So if you leave this in your car for a year or two, you'll go to shake it and you won't hear that going back and forth because it's a solid, it's dried. So it's important to do that. Next, we have these two brushes that I want to make sure that I get on camera because they are really cool. And I have a ton of these. And see how this is an L-shaped, and you get them at hobby stores. So I can keep my finger here and I put my pinky down and I settle so I don't shake. And you can get in there just like that. Or today we're going to use this one because it's super fine. And you can get in there just like this. Now the cool thing is when you're doing this, you don't actually want to paint. There's no painting here. You want to dip it, and I'll show you right now. You want to dip it in the touch-up paint. And the way that you do that is you open it up, right? And I hold it with one hand. And I don't use the pen either. I don't think that that's very good. And I hold it like this. And see how there's paint on the stick? And then I'll go in just lightly. Let's see if it's on camera. Get this even closer. You get in there and you just lightly fill up the edge of that brush. And it's going to take you some time. But what you want to do is you want to fill it up, fill that brush up so that it drips off the brush and into the cracks. You're not painting, you're basically holding the brush on top of it, and the touch-up paint is pouring or oozing into that crack. Make sense? So let's get doing this. We got a whole large thing that we need to touch up here. It's important to understand why we actually put touch-up paint on the car, and the number one reason is to stop the corrosion or prevent corrosion from happening, because now you don't have any protection. The jacket, so to speak, is off the car, so you're exposed to the elements. So the number one reason behind manufacturers doing that or making touch-up is to protect it so it doesn't ruin the rest of the car. The second reason, or the byproduct, is that it can look better. Now most of the time, like I showed you that big paintbrush that comes with it, in my opinion, it almost looks worse to put touch-up paint sometimes because it's just really nasty and it sticks out. In this case, we did it because it went right down to the bare metal, like I showed you in the part one of this video. All that black stuff, we don't want to have any corrosion going on. So I put it on. If you look at it now, and I'll take a picture of it, it actually looks, in my opinion, a bit worse. And the reason why is I need to let this dry and settle. So I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'll show you exactly what I did with regards to letting it pour in there, and then what the next steps are going to be. So let me get that. All right, so here's a little diagram of what we did, and this is important to understand. When we first started, it looked like this, right? It had these jagged little edges everywhere. And it was a big, very defined cut, sharp edges, and lots of little cuts and things that you don't really want in there. So after we wet sanded, we went through all the steps to learn how to wet sand. We made it this a bit more like loopier or smoother and a little bit more less jagged. Then we went all the way down here and we put touch-up paint in there. Now touch-up paint, if you see, it's this part right here. It's still here. But what you want to do is you want to put a bubble over it. So that's when it starts to look awkward, because remember when the light comes down? See how bubbly this is? The light's going this way and this way and this way and this way, as opposed to just a few different ways. The point I'm trying to make here is when you put touch-up paint on properly, it actually looks worse. And the reason is because you just created a bubble or like a prism effect, and it shines and you're like, whoa, wow, you can see that thing, it looks nasty. But unfortunately, I may not have time today because I have to let this dry and they need to pick it up and do what they want to do. And I think that we're going to probably repaint the hood anyways. But what you want to do is after this dries, you want to come back very lightly and sand this off, right? You're going to sand that top layer off. So this is all gone. This is all gone. So now you don't have a prism anymore. You don't have that light going everywhere. So now you have this nice flat, and then it'll actually look just like the paint. And the way that you would do that is once it's all dried, you'd lightly either sand or microfiber, cut the top of it. You'd have to sand it a little bit. So it's a delicate process, but it can be done. Now here's the last step if you really want to get crazy. This is a 5,000 grit sandpaper from 3M, and I have a backing plate on there, as you can see, nice and soft. This is the 3-inch DA from Grow there. Now what I did was I touched it the whole thing up like we've been doing, and I filled in all the gaps. And what I'm trying to do is remove all the little edges. Remember when we were painting, I said that paintbrush? Even the paintbrush that I have over there, that's a pen, is so thin, but it's still gonna fall over the edge. Remember this part here? This one. Remember this one? So now it's still, see how this is over the edge? What I'm doing is I'm coming by and I'm flattening this now, and all that's gonna remain is the stuff that's in the crack. Now this is what takes forever. I could spend a week on this and in theory get it 90% back to normal, and that's what guys do for show cars with little rock chips everywhere. You can spend all that time, you can make it look perfect, you can have your mind go nuts, but I'm trying to show you the steps. You decide whether you want to go crazy or not, or repaint it, or whatever is easiest for you. But I think it's eye-opening to see what can get done. So I'm taking the 5,000, and like I said, I am cutting off all this stuff here. And what I would normally do if I had a week, or this was my supercar or something, I'd sand it down, and then I would reapply touch-up. Sand it down, reapply touch-up. Sand it down, reapply touch-up, and then probably at the very end, apply clear coat over it. They give you the 2 bottles. I only have 1 here, but then apply that and then sand it down again. Good to go. That's how crazy you can get with these things. So that's the last step. I'm going to keep going and clean this up even more and sort of take away the part that's not the crack. It's that big. I'm going to take off all the parts on the side here, and it's making it look a little better. So I'm going to finish up here. Super long video. I hope that was helpful to you. Use this same concept for when you're doing rock chips. Get really in there and you can sand it down. You can go, again, you can spend a week on this if you'd like, but that's how it's done. I'll shoot some pictures afterwards and you'll see that it looks better. It's not great. More importantly, you learned, hopefully by watching the first one, what wet sanding is, what it can do and what it can't do, and what's actually going on in the paint with the microscope. Kind of cool. Any questions, shoot me an email at larry@ammonyc.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll have tons more videos coming up, and I appreciate all your guys' support. Talk to you soon.